Okay, here we go. I think we have everything corrected. This is Live with Matthew. A beautiful Tuesday, a Monday on a Tuesday, the 21st day of February 2023. If you're just scrolling through Facebook, this is Live with Matthew, and what I have been doing for nearly 6 years is giving people a platform to come on to Facebook Live, my Facebook page, and share their stories, which is exactly what will happen this evening. We did a tech check not too long ago. I'm looking to make a second connection with Allegonian, the fellow in yellow. I'm looking to speak with Trevor Redmond, and Trevor is in the broadcast right now. So let's bring him in. So the next person you see on the screen will be Trevor Redmond.
Hi.
Hey, Trevor.
Oh,
Oh no. I think he maybe tripped on a wire and disconnected himself. Let's bring him back in here. That's what that's what I love about live. That's what I love about it.
a couple of technical difficulties here. It's coming though.
No,
Let's try this.
I thought maybe you kicked over the tripod or something.
No, it was a problem with the tripod, but I'm gonna join myself over here.
Perfect.
Hello.
Excellent. Trevor, welcome to Live with Matthew. This is the first time you've been on a guest on my show, so welcome.
One moment here. Sorry, Matt. It's a little volume problem here. I can hardly hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay, it's up to maximum, so I'm gonna have to listen hard.
Can you hear me now?
Barely, but we'll do.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there might be some feedback back and forth. But what I was saying is this is your first time on the show with me, so welcome. And I think this will be the first of many conversations that you and I will have. So welcome.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Welcome to my home.
We have the conversation that we're going to have tonight will probably be the lengthiest that we've had because we've only passed each other a few times. I think the first time I saw you, you were running on the spot. That's how I came to know you as the fellow in yellow. So let's start with the immediate in the Cole's notes. The fellow in yellow. How did that come to be? Just quickly, because I kind of want to end with that. I kind of want to rewind back to like the mid 80s, but just to answer the question as to why you're dressed in yellow for the audience that's viewing this for the first time in the moment, the fellow in yellow, what's it all about?
Well, yellow is a happy color, for one thing. It does get a response. It's the friendliest color out there, and it does bring visibility upon myself. Running on the spot as a fellow in yellow, I thought of doing that more of when I did my journeys walking across Canada, biking across Canada. Sometimes I would run by people, and unless they're in a vehicle, see me a couple of times, they might not really understand what I was out there doing. If I'm running around the city dressed even in yellow, I run by somebody and they, again, may really not even pay attention to what I'm doing. Right on the spot, I'll have a person pass me again and again and again, and sometimes 10 times before they decide to stop and ask, hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm the fellow in yellow and I'm preparing myself to do a run across Canada. And that's what I say.
How 7 days in a week, how often are you going out in a week and how long are you staying out? How many steps on average are you putting in a day, Trevor?
Well, I did set up a challenge very quickly to myself back in 2019 when I realized in the month of July I was up to 900,000 steps in that month. And I'm like, well, I can probably do 1,000,000 steps a month. And what 1,000,000 steps a month would bring would be 33,000 steps a day. I did that for 2 years. I'm kind of pulling back a little bit, and then also I'm getting ready to amp that up to even a lot more. So in order to run a marathon, you would have to do, which is 42.2 kilometers. Stepwise, that's in the range of into the high 50s, 60,000 steps. So I will be amping it up at the end of the year.
Okay. I know that you journal, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Do you keep physical track like in a notebook, steps and stuff like that? Are you that meticulous?
Like I say, between 2019 and 2021, for a 2 year period, I was very much keeping track of every step I took. And I was putting it in an Excel spreadsheet. So there, yes. And I think I'll probably slide back into that when I'm on the road. But most importantly, in keeping those records, I'm really not out to keep records, break records, or anything like that. I'm out to beat the odds, and that really has to be my focus. Sometimes focusing so much on the numbers um, may distract me from the distance and what I'm out to achieve as an objective.
So you've biked across, you have walked across, you're getting ready to run across. Um, Before we discuss that, let's just pump the brakes on that. And I should mention that people who are watching this, everything that we are about to discuss is information that you've already put up on your own social media, and more specifically, a YouTube video that you have put out that I will put up in the comment section here. But let's go back to the mid '80s. What happened to you September 16th, 1986, that forever altered the path that you thought you were on?
Well, I'll rewind a little bit back, a little bit further. Um, During the summer of 1986, I was physically doing my best to try to be as strong as I could be and as fast as I could be, as well as endurance on a old bicycle my father bought me from Canadian Tire. And I was watching my legs build and build and build up muscularly, which was great. I was really inspired to get fit because there was a person who was wheelchairing around the world at that time that I wanted to meet, and I wanted to go as far as he was going to go that day to encourage him and inspire him, as well as being inspired myself. Now, as I was getting closer to the date when he would be coming to my community, a fellow by the name of Rick Hansen, um, I was expecting him to go down the Trans-Canada Highway. As it turned out, his route was going right down my street. So I was very, very excited. Unfortunately for me, I got struck by a vehicle, which it severely damaged my leg. My leg was shattered into 20 different pieces. I had a severed artery, lots of blood loss. Yeah, it was a mess. Uh, I still anticipated when I woke up that I would be sent home on crutches with a broken leg, and I'd still be able to at least watch this incredible journey go by. Um, I woke up from my first surgery, looked down at my leg, and I seen metal pieces sticking out of it. And I instantly said to myself, "You're not going home too soon, and you're not going to meet Rick ever."
That's pretty devastating moment for you.
I have a hard time with the word devastation. I think at the time it seemed the case, but I think even at that time I was still trying to navigate it. You know, what does this mean? And even myself waking from, oh, maybe the second or third surgery after they're saying you just might lose your leg, and telling me that directly, because I would need to know, I would need to have to face that um, ahead of time. I woke up again from a second, third surgery, and I asked myself, how am I going to navigate this? I might be an amputee. I don't know anybody at all around me that could help me navigate that. I don't know an amputee. I don't know anybody disabled. I can't even think of anybody now in my school back then that was. I would be that only one. How do you navigate that? And then I thought to myself, well, Trevor, look at Terry. He lost his leg and he went extremely far. Look what he was able to achieve. And then, of course, I thought of Rick Hansen, who lost the use of both legs, and he was wheelchairing around the world right at that moment. And I also thought to myself, but for a fraction of a second here or there, I could have lost the use of both my arms and my legs, or completely something even worse. But here I was, and that's what I had to face. And it was also giving me this understanding, maybe deeply for the first time, what people would face and what they do face. And I did face a wheelchair myself, and I faced crutches. I faced using a cane. I faced an open wound in my leg for a year and a half, which I had to do my own medical attendance to, putting, well, putty in my leg the color of my shirt because, well, it was made a lot with iodine, just to keep it from not getting infected. So traumatic, but as you see now, maybe not so devastating, but certainly, certainly a lot of worry.
You mentioned Terry Fox and Hansen. And
Yeah.
like I mentioned, I want to give you the opportunity to share your story. And one of the other individuals that you mentioned is, this is a name that is in this YouTube video that you put out there. If you want, do you want to share your thoughts on Dr. Patrick McDermott, what he meant to you?
I'm sorry I paused.
It's okay.
Everything, and like I lived in Calgary up until 2017. I came down here specifically to Nova Scotia, and maybe the greatest draw to me coming back here is the actual medical attention I did receive here. I might have gone across Canada on my own without that, but I don't think without the medical support from Dr. Patrick McDermott that I would have done it with my full leg. And he really, him and his team really did a lot of work. Patrick McDermott was very, very special. A lot of the work he was doing was behind the scenes. And I really never got to talk a lot to him. But boy, when he spoke, he meant words. I came wheeling out of my hospital room, probably about a month after my accident. And he goes, "Where are you heading?" And I'm like, "I'm going to the TV room." "Where's your crutches?" "Well, they're on my bed." "Well, what are they doing there?" "Get up off your ass, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I didn't put your leg back together for you to be sulking around here complaining to the nurses. Get in there and get them." I was shocked. And believe me, I'm talking a lot softly than what he was resonating through that hallway. I think everybody in the ward heard him, and I certainly did. And I said to him, "Well, when I stand, my leg feels funny. It turns purple. Now I'll give you this, because I was at risk of losing my leg, and they were checking with needles up and down my leg daily, if not hourly, to see if there's feeling. If there's a lack of feeling, that's a sign that part of the leg is now dying and amputation is coming. So I wanted to feel absolutely everything. So I wasn't taking painkillers. I was enduring the pain. And to me, feeling that pain meant my leg was still there. So, but yet worrying about any doing any more damage to it, I was. And at that point, that moment, I knew more than that doctor who put it back together was my attitude. It doesn't feel right. I'm not doing it. And it felt like my leg was going to explode. It was under the pressure of the blood pushing on it, and that's why it was turning purple. And he goes, "Well, it is going to do that. You need to grow your blood vessels back. You need to be on those crutches so you can do that. Your blood has to work its way down, and then it's got to move its way back up, and it's got to work it out for itself how to rebuild those blood vessels. And then so it took a lot of work, but he also heard that I wanted out by Halloween. He said, "Well, it's not going to happen to me." But then with a little more softer love and maybe a little more convincing, he said to me, "Well, if you stay on your crutches, we'll see what we can do." And I stayed on those crutches. The wheelchair was completely taken away from me, and by Halloween, I got out. If Patrick McDermott's children are out there, and I'd love to reach them somehow, your father did a significant thing, and that we lost a good man. He passed away. This was October. We had this discussion, and by December, Patrick McDermott passed away. But he left behind quite a legacy, and I wish you could see just what his work did for me today.
I'm glad I gave you the opportunity to say those words. If you're just scrolling through Facebook, this is Live with Matthew. My name is Matthew. That's Trevor Redmond, the fellow in yellow, who next March will be getting ready to run across Canada. Already walked it, already biked it. We're going to talk about it in a couple of moments. Another date that jumped out at me from your YouTube video. So just I just want to read a couple of things, and then I'll let you fill in the blanks. You say that in just to button up the 1986 life-altering situation. How old were you in 1986, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 15 years old.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to fast forward to 2005. And again, this is information that you've put up in this video. You say that your body started to break down. Your body was revolting. You were unsure if you were going to hit 50 years of age. So just a few weeks before your 35th birthday in 2006, you drove out west and then started walking back across Canada. Tell me about that. Start off with, go back to 2005, and your body best. It starts to break down. Walk us through that and take us right up to your walk across Canada and that special day in 2006, July 28th.
Let me start on the walk across Canada. In order to walk 1,000 miles, you have to take that first step. But when you're 1,000 miles behind when you start in the first place, even more so, it's significant. I think most of us, we're not exercising completely, and I was, a little bit of weights at home. Go to work and work a full day, standing on a power jack in a warehouse, but not really exposing myself to a lot of the outdoor environment. Because often we, excuse me, as we get off our box spring mattress, we walk into a box that we shower in. We step through a long box out through a hole in the box into a hallway. That's yet another box. For me, I jump into a box that took me down into a parkade and hop in a box with wheels, drive that box over to a warehouse where I spent most of the time putting things in boxes. And then on the way home, it's the same kind of thing. But really not exposing myself, really not giving myself the exercise. If you don't exercise like that, in reality, as I've known now, your body starts to fight itself. You have a little army there called your immune system, and it wants to attack something. And if you're not exposing yourself to the full array, it starts to attack things it shouldn't be attacking. And I think a lot of that was happening to me. My allergies. I'm going to skip over my journey across Canada and talk about 5 years after my journey. I was sitting in a first aid course, and they brought out a wicker basket. In the wicker basket, they had puffers, injectors, things to put in your nose, puff in your mouth, stick things in, your leg. If you have an epileptic fit, So it could save you if you're in an epileptic shock, which is basically, again, your immune system way overreacting to the situation. You're basically killing yourself. I looked in the wicker basket. I said, I know how to use every single one of those things. And I took, I think, every single one of those things in one form or another with me when I was walking across Canada. Huh. What do I do? What did I do? Um, I didn't use those up to that point for the full 5 years. And I never went to the hospital for any allergic reaction whatsoever. I had a bad back, well, of course, my leg, shoulder, issue with my ear, physically weird too. And I'm like, well, with my journey, back into the journey preparation, I'm like, well, look, I want to do this so badly. If I have to crawl the rest of the way across Canada, I'll crawl the rest of the way across Canada. But I went into it hard. I trained very hard. I trained like mad, and very routinely. I changed my eating habits. I ate when I got hungry, but it was an array. And I looked at it. Well, each part of my body, my hair needs different things than my eyeball, than my teeth, lips, my heart. So I need to eat a whole array of different foods, and even eat away my cravings. And it didn't matter if I stopped, once a week into McDonald's and had Big Mac, a sundae, and a shake. Great. Giving myself an array of food, giving myself an array of exercise, and I even started camping. Even an array of temperatures, hitting the 30 degrees. I even camped into minus 20s. I got up at minus 26 in the backyard of my friend's house, camping on the snow and the dirt. And then I walked against the north wind that was blowing in my face for 26 kilometers in minus 26. So it was really just changing my body. I have a saying now, when you exercise like that and do those kind of exercises, even your immune system and even your social talking with people when you're out there, training yourself and conditioning yourself that way, that boy, oh boy, when you do stuff like that, you're asking your inner mechanics for an upgrade. 2006, March 26th, my birthday, turning 35. I took a U-Haul van and drove out to Vancouver with a buddy. And he dropped me off there, took a plane flight as I dropped and left the U-Haul out that way. In order to walk 1,000 miles, you got to take that first step. And my theme back then was every step that is taken is a step towards a cure. And I'll repeat that. Every step that is taken is where every step that is taken is a step towards a cure. And I never thought over that time frame that I'd be curing myself, but that exercise, be it talking with people, putting myself out there, camping along the way, exercising, it all went together towards a cure for me. And now that I'm preparing to do a run across Canada, I really want to share that with everybody. I really want them to see, because I think you asked me, who is Trevor? Who is the fellow in yellow? I'm just another regular person out to do maybe an extraordinary thing. But there is no extraordinary man, only extraordinary men putting themselves into extraordinary position, and women.
You just a fascinating individual, and I think people who are watching this now and spend a little time watching your YouTube will think of how they exercise a little bit differently. I like one of the phrases that you used was like an upgrade or an overhaul to your organs and your muscles and stuff. I never thought about the extremes of even temperature, like you walking in minus 26 for 26 kilometers. Like most people wouldn't even fathom that, but a lot of what you say makes sense. Don't get me wrong, but the walking that you you are raising money for cancer. And again, I'm just pulling this off of your site. And you,
I did, yeah, in 2006, 2007, and then 2009, I did it for cancer prevention, research, and awareness.
yes,
And I met a lot of people along the way that had many other different types of diseases. And I do understand how exercise can really help them to recover and handle their own diseases. So when I talk about doing this now, I really want to, of course, still include cancer in that mix, but diabetes, heart disease, this is, well, for everybody, health, mobility, recovery for every single body. And if your body is revolting, it is time for a revolution. So it is, exercising, as I say, the mind, the body, the mind, the body, and the spirit. A perfect health triangle. Try that on for exercise. Condition yourself to that.
I don't understand how you have gone back and forth across Canada twice, getting ready to
I don't
do
either.
the third time under the radar. Like, it's just amazing that you're getting ready to accomplish this feat. And for the most part, not having any charity support. Is that still the situation, or what's happening with that?
It's an interesting thing, especially about this process where I really want to be freely generating support just to get me on the road. I certainly have charities lined up that I would like to support once I get out there. So that will happen. Even back, excuse me, my health isn't slipping. I'm actually just fought a cold, so we're good. Back in when I did do my walk and my bike ride, I did it for cancer research, prevention, awareness for the Princess Margaret Hospital Foundation in Toronto. That said, I did head out on my own when I did the walk. And I did try to bring charities on, but at that point, they weren't interested in having me. By the time I pulled my trailer halfway across Canada, over 4,000 kilometers, there started to generate some interest. But it was really then the prevention side of it. So even if I don't link up with a charity, I will still want to do it for the prevention side of it. And I do believe the more I move others. And I still believe that every step that is taken is a step towards a cure. But I definitely, I was even just talking today back and forth with a charity close to my heart that I surely would like to support. And I will definitely support in the future.
If you're just scrolling through Facebook, this is Live with Matthew. I'm Matthew. That's Trevor Redmond, the fellow in yellow. Just a couple more things. This date really jumped out at me, and I'm curious if you can fill in the blanks here. The 2011 relay. Was that your first opportunity to meet Rick Hansen in person?
First off, just give me one moment. It wasn't the first. You got to make opportunities, Matt.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the reason I asked, you can fill in the
and I'll tell you this.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No, the reason I brought it up, there was a picture taken of you shaking the hand of Rick Hansen. I just want you to tell me, if you can, the brief conversation that you had with him, and then wasn't that the year that the fellow in yellow was created with the yellow jacket? Just kind of fill those blanks in for me, please.
Opportunity, and I think that was said as I walked up. It didn't offend me. I was grabbing something. Opportunities are there, and looking for them, seeking them, keeping your mind open to them is so important. And of course, with Rick Hansen, I called Rick Hansen a beacon of light through the darkest times of my recovery. thinking about how he recovered and, being able to accomplish in a wheelchair over 40,000 kilometers distance is incredible. Great Wall of China was his pride. I never thought, like, as I said, when I woke from that first surgery and looked down at my leg, I'll never meet Rick. I just accepted it. It wouldn't happen. 25 years after my accident, here they're promoting a relay across Canada. He was a former Paralympian, so he got with the Royal Canadian Mint, and they created for him a medallion about this big that we were relaying across Canada, difference maker to difference maker to difference maker. That was the plan. And they put out a contest. Tell us your story. How did you make a difference in your community? I lived in Calgary, but I applied for the same street that I wanted to spend time with Rick on. Follow him as far as he could go. He was going to go that day. I applied, and they accepted it. And I was so excited. Got on a plane and flew all the way down to Stellarton, Nova Scotia. And I skipped, I danced, I leaped, I jumped. I was so excited. And a lot of that on, well, my strong leg and my even stronger leg. And it was exciting. And, to just get that medal and then do that 500 meters that they gave to each difference maker. Now, when I handed the medal over to the next person, I went to the organizers. Do you mind if I just follow to the side and go the distance? Because I want to go as far as you go today. Because it was my dream of following Rick ended in 1986. But this was now an opportunity to relive it. And they're like, okay, just off to the side, stay safe. Now, when the other difference maker was ready to hand off their medal, they asked the same. And by the end of our little relay, there was probably 8, 9, 10 of us going across the line together, holding hands. And that was absolutely amazing. Of course, it was my idea to go across the line together and hold hands. But it was absolutely great.
Nice.
One of the amazing things of it, now, I had autographs and T-shirts and everything written up for me from Rick Hansen when I was in the hospital that I received, buttons and even a photo of him signing stuff. So I had all my autographs then. I was more geared up to having my nieces and nephews meet him. So I really never got an opportunity to talk to Rick, even after 25 years, but I had more than enough, right? So me and my oldest nephew are heading away, and he's flipping through the photos on his camera and realizing his battery's getting low, but happens to look behind and goes, "Trevor, look." And I look behind, and here's a man in a wheelchair racing to catch up to us. And he did, of course. That man's name was Rick. And I go, I'm like, what a pleasure to meet you, Rick. And he goes, you come pretty far yourself. And I said, well, not as far as you, Rick. In order for me to go as far as you, I'd have to run across Canada and back to come up with the distance. He tells me you can do it. So icing on the cake, candle lit, like, wow. And I walked away with that, and we had yellow jackets on that we were wearing. They were originally blue that they were showcasing, and when we went out, they ended up turning to yellow. And I think it was just more to highlight the difference makers. So not many people wear yellow, and they were bright yellow jackets. I'm like, well, you know what? I like that idea. If I do run across Canada and maybe back, maybe I should wear a yellow jacket. Oh, maybe I should dress completely in yellow and call myself the fellow in yellow. So yes, that's kind of where that originated from. Yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. You're such a fantastic storyteller, and I'm going to keep you here for just a couple of more moments.
Sure.
And I want to give you an opportunity, because you put this up on your own Facebook page, that you are getting ready for the first annual march March 26th, 11 o'clock, Halifax Commons to Dartmouth Commons. Mobility March. Tell us about that, Trevor.
As you think, and as you probably already know, I'm pretty big on mobility, and the quality of life you get from it, being healthy, fit, able to take on anything, having that kind of strength is so important. And you can't just sit back and wait for that strength to come to you. You really got to get out and get it. And I've as myself, I've talked about those examples, Terry Fox, Rick Hansen, how inspirational they are. That just seeing and leading by that kind of example is so important. They're great. They're great heroes in my life. That came along and really changed me. But they're not my greatest hero. And this isn't egotistical at all for me to say I'm my greatest hero. And to see through the eyes of your own greatest hero is one of the most incredible things you can ever see. It's astounding. I want to create, and I'll say it right here, go down the list of the months, even backwards: December, November, September, August, July, June, May, April. March is the one month that says, hey, get out there and do something. I command you to move. So I want to turn March into, from here on in, and I'd like to see it spread from Halifax, right around the world. Mobility March, where we're out moving. We're out becoming our own greatest heroes. We're out bringing friends along and inspiring them to move. Be all that you can be all that you can be, because you can, because I could. Mobility March is going to be about that. And what I would like to try to dedicate people and keep it in their mind, do all of that moving and mobility throughout March, and consider all the people who may have mobility issues when you're out moving yourself. Are they able to move where you're able to move? How can you help them? How can you assist them? That. And I would like to see the last Sunday of every March dedicated to a there and back mobility march. As you said there, March 26th next month. I want to kick it off and go from the Halifax Commons to the Dartmouth Commons. And if you got the gumption, come all the way back to Halifax Commons. Years ago, I think as a teenager, they were saying statistically, a person travels about 9 kilometers a day as it is in moving. This is about 8 kilometers. So if you live within a kilometer range from the Halifax Commons, it should come down. And wear a little bit of yellow just to highlight mobility. I'm going to wear a lot of it because I really want to highlight it.
Awesome stuff. Fascinating conversation. And we haven't even really talked about, the spiritual side of you, the nutritional side of you. But that being said, I do encourage people to go to your own Facebook page, because I've put your link up on my Facebook page. I'll put your link in the comments, because the latest YouTube video that you put out, that's less than 22 minutes long. It talks about the myokines. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Well, and the short story on the myokines are those small proteins your muscles actually produce for a different array of things depending on how you exert those muscles. They communicate, and your body will communicate to you. It is the mind, the body, and the spirit all pulled together when you exercise. It really is, down to the metabolical things. But yeah, really look up the word myokine.
Yes. I would, like I said, I would encourage people to watch the video that you put out. Trevor, I think we did pretty good with the inaugural chat here on Live with Matthew. That was a lot of fun and very informative. Thank you.
Sure. And I'll just add, of course, you might want to know a little bit more information, if you go to thereandbackcanada.ca, you'll find it. Um, some stuff. And of course, again, I'm touching on anything. If you have any further questions, there's a link there where you can contact me at the very bottom of every page that you can email me and just ask a question or two. And that again is thereandbackcanada.ca. Or if you even typed in thefellowinYellow.ca, it'll bring you on there.
Okay. Thank you, Trevor. I just want to close with this statistic that you put up here. So if you've walked across, you've biked across. Now, if you run across and back again, is that your plan, or just to run out and run back? Because if you do,
I
that will.
always set out for really big goals. And I even when I walked across Canada, I said, well, let's go there and back. Let's see if we can go across and back. But I said, even if I go only halfway, what an achievement. My real first goal is to get across Canada as best as I can, and become the only person. I like to work in triangles. As I said, health, mobility, recovery, mind, body, spirit, and walked, bicycled, and run. And just really to drive home the strength of, mobility. What do you prefer to do? I said on my walk, it was the least I could do at the most was to walk. But yes, if I achieve that goal and I get a great roar and a cheer back here in Nova Scotia in the Maritimes, then of course I'll do my best. And maybe even if I have to crawl back, I'll do it. And if I do, that will be the circumference of the whole entire world added up.
Yes, that was the point I was going to get to. If you succeed, you're looking at 40,000 plus kilometers, and the circumference of Earth is 40,075 kilometers. So I just want people to put that into perspective, just exactly how much mobility the fellow in yellow's got going on.
Inspired by this difference maker, this is the difference maker medal I got from Rick Hansen all those years ago now, back in 2011. And
nice.
His accomplishment was 80 kilometers a day, 2 years, 2 months, 2 days. And I would like to wear this around my neck as I'm traveling. If I ever need that little bit of boost, just give it a good hard squeeze and keep moving.
Awesome. Excellent stuff. Great conversation, Trevor. And luckily for me, you're a fellow Haligonian, so I will probably see you later on this week on Spring Garden Road or at the waterfront. But you're pretty easy to pick out of a crowd.
Yeah, and awesome. The same thing. If people do show up on March 26th, you'll know how to find me. Unless everybody else is dressed all in yellow too, it might get confusing. But just let us group together. Excellent stuff. Trevor, thanks for your time. All right, cheers. Thanks, Matt. Okay, we'll talk to you later. All right, perfect. Bye. Bye. Oh, pardon my finger. No, I don't want to do that. Trevor Redmond changed to viewer. I don't want to block him. Oh, there we go. Sorry, took a little time to figure that out. The fellow in yellow, Trevor Redmond, thanks for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. Okay. If you want to use this platform to share your story, the invitation will always be there. Thanks for hanging out on a Tuesday night. Wow. We're almost through a work week. Beautiful. Live with Matthew. Bye-bye now.